Arcturian Philosophy. Now this is more along the survival tips line, which should be fast and easy. Now, let's just say you have your water bottle. What you guys in Austria are going to notice is that if this does come upon you, the stuff I'm talking about, if this does happen to you, let's see, this bottle of water was hexed. Let me see if it will actually show up in here. You can't really see it when they do it to water. Okay, you can see it a little bit. You see that there are particles in there, and if you try to drink this, it's like drinking shards of glass. And I discovered there's a very, very easy way to protect your water. Use something that is made of paper, or something that's wood somehow. So things like this is a coconut water container, or milk cartons. I noticed they couldn't really hex or curse the milk when I was being imprisoned. And so sure enough, same thing with the coconut water. It's harder for them to do because you cannot see through the container, and I keep feeling that there's something about it being paper or wooden, based from a tree somehow, that there's something about that. So what you do, let's pretend this was a normal bottle of water that wasn't messed up. You can see this pretty well actually, if you can see through with this. Okay, you can't see it, but this should look like a clear. Let's try and pour it out, and you can see it. It should look like a clear oil. See, this is a liniment. It's like Chinese medicine, and it's supposed to look clear, but with whatever they'd done to it, they'd caused it to look slightly milky, like there were. Still really can't see it very well, but if it's in front of you, you can tell. Like if it's right in front of you, it's like they're little particles that come up in the liquid that just appear there, and you know something is not right. So don't consume anything with that in it at all. So say you have your bottle of water. When you're at the store, always get a paper bag somehow that you're putting them inside. So say bring a shopping bag of some kind that's paper or cloth. Make sure to put them in there so that when you're walking through the store, people can't look at them. Though when you have an unopened bottle, I've noticed that when the bottle is unopened, it's a lot harder for them to do something to it. So if you just take something off the shelf at the store, it's sealed, it's not opened yet, there's something symbolic about opening it that allows them to do things to it more easily. Because I'd noticed that if you didn't open something, it was harder for them to do something to it, or just like they couldn't, much harder in general. So if you notice the honking in the background, see that I'm actually getting this on audio. I mean, knocking on the walls, honking outside. This stuff is not normal for this area. It didn't used to happen. So you have your water inside of your paper of some type, or what I discovered you can do also is you can wrap it up. Again, paper towels, you can wrap up your bottle like this, but most people are not really going to want to do that. It's just easier to use a paper bag if you have a paper bag. But if you don't have a paper bag, you can use this too, or printer paper, anything that makes it opaque instead of see-through, like that, where you can see the liquid. They have to be able to see the liquid. So when it's transparent like that, they have to be able to see the liquid, and then the container, it appears, also has to have been opened. And from there, like what happened to me the other day is I was sitting there, and the bottle simply knocked over next to me. It was just sitting there, and the bottle had been opened, was sitting there, and just knocked over. And I just had a feeling, oh, they did something to it. Oh. And you hear the honking in the background? That's them trying to do stuff. Let's see, they can't because of some of the rules that I just mentioned. I'm not going to repeat them, but there are specific rules. They can't do things. So you've got it like this. Now, what came to me, this is really funny. I was shown a picture of Krista in San Francisco, you know that you used to walk around and there would be the drunk people who have their bottle like this because they're trying to hide it from the police? Well, you should put the water inside of a bag like this, because that way then they can't see it nearly as easily or do anything to it as easily. With the top, what you want to do is fold the top like this, so that way the only time that you're vulnerable is when you've opened it. If you're holding it like that and you open it, the only time that you're vulnerable is when you take the top off and while you're drinking it. And what I learned while in prison is you do this as fast as possible. If you have these forces on top of you trying to do things to you, you do it very quickly and immediately. If you can't get the top on, you just put your hand over it. Anything to close the top. And that seems to be something that they need. They need to have it open like that. If they can't see through it like here, they're trying to only see through the top. It's where they can see into it is the idea. So those are our tips with how to protect your water, because you will notice most likely that that these forces do odd things to water. And so also remember that anything that's made of metal, anything that's reflective, you might have issues with well, like a top to something on your stove like this, or that's metal. They use metal in some sort of strange fashion that I haven't really discerned yet. But what's really cool is that I know that the guy who I talked to, Chris Kaler, it seems like he actually understands how all their stuff works. And that's what I've been trying to find. Because once you understand the mechanisms behind what they're doing, which is literally just taking making a pyramid shape out of, say, copper wire and holding it over your head and thinking something. Yeah, stuff like that. So simple, it's not even funny. And I realized, wait, looking at his website, this guy, you can find him on YouTube, Chris Kaler, K-E-H-L-E-R, and you can see the geometry, the pyramid geometry, and how it's used. And so it was really interesting. And so some different things that occurred, I'm not going to mention, so I don't give people ideas, but some different things that occurred, I realized, oh, that's what they were trying to do. Oh, okay, I see what was going on there. Alright, so those are some great tips for you to protect your water. Once I figured that out, I thought, yes, no more worrying about my water or any other liquid. Any other liquid like a bottle like this. This is where it's sort of see-through, even though it's dark, it's still see-through. If this had something like this around it, all you do, take this, wrap it around it. They can't do anything to it then. You protected it. And it's so simple. You don't have to know how to do any of the energetic barrier type stuff. You're stupid like me and you can't figure it out. Or you're a brilliant loser like me and you can't figure it out. There are third density ways to stop this that are stupidly simple, and that's what they are. So, I'll see you next time on Arcturian Philosophy.